Well, the Biden administration also, this is happening, telling the Supreme Court that low-level crack cocaine offenders should be among the beneficiaries of the First Step Act. That's a federal law that was signed by President Trump back in 2018 that reduced certain prison sentences. But why does the Biden administration want to reduce sentences for crack cocaine offenders? Joining us now to discuss is former FBI agent and author of Sheep No More, Jonathan Gilliam. Jonathan, thank you very much for joining us.
Good to be with you.
So this would, in essence, reverse what the Trump administration had concluded, and that was as part of the First Step Act that low-level crack cocaine dealers were not to be included in the lesser sentences.
Right, and it was also affirmed by the Supreme Court. That's what's crazy about this whole thing is that now, it just goes to show you that there's very little checks and balances between different branches of government. The Biden administration doesn't like it. Doesn't matter what the Supreme Court says. He's gonna have his DOJ not enforce it. Look, here's the thing with this: is so dangerous because when it comes to Central South America, you go to other nations around the world. The biggest problem that you have is drug abuse and the systematic movement of drugs throughout the nation and the world. And in order to combat that, what you have to have is you have to have stronger, tougher laws, and you have to have penalties that deter people. Because quite frankly, if you just allow people to do whatever they want and just throw their thumb up at the law, what's going to happen is you're going to have a lawless, violent society. And with the amount of people coming over the border right now, you see how he's actually confronting that the same exact way. And one other thing that's really strange about this, isn't this what Hunter Biden is accused of, the drug of choice for Hunter Biden? Does this have anything to do with the fact that the president's son has been known to smoke crack? Could this be something that he's looking at in the DOJ of facing, and for some strange reason, this has become a focus? Out of all the things that are wrong in this nation, that this has become a focus for Joe Biden. I find that very suspicious.
Yeah, I don't know if you're asking that rhetorically. I don't have the answer to that. Obviously, you're putting it out there. Let me ask you about this, Jonathan. There's some people that say there's a concern about who is most likely to be arrested, or that the system is not as fair to people of color. Do you think that has anything to do with it? And if so, is that a legitimate concern?
It's not a legitimate concern. Look, if you do crack cocaine and you get caught, you're going to get arrested for it. It's that simple. And I don't know what people believe. See, here, when you look at, this is a good way to look at this whole thing. When you look at how President Trump ran the country, everybody said that, from the Democrat side, he's out of control. He can't be predicted. He's unpredictable. The fact is, when you are a leader who looks at every single issue separately, you come up with effective solutions for that problem. And for some, that looks reckless because they are used to having, like Joe Biden, a specific ideology that determines what the outcome will for any problem. And so when you look at what's happening with crack cocaine or drug abuse and how rampant it is in the inner city, there's a problem in the inner city with drugs. It has less to do with color and more to do with the drug problem. And so I would say, I've arrested, when I was in the FBI and when I was in local law enforcement, I was never driven by somebody's color on who to arrest. It's who's doing the crime. And I would say that's the way 100% of law enforcement reacts.
Well, this is not a done deal yet. The Supreme Court, I think, is slated to hear oral arguments beginning in April 20th or somewhere around the end of April. What do you think will happen? And why did the Trump administration specifically not include the crack cocaine dealers?
I think it's because crack cocaine is a serious offense. When somebody is under the influence of crack cocaine, I mean, they've had murders, they've had absolute delusional behavior, and crack cocaine is a serious drug. And for somebody to ignore the law that much, I can guarantee you that even this person, Terry, in which this whole case is about, if you look at their history, most likely somebody who is on crack cocaine, it's not the first time they've ever done drugs, it's not the first time they've ever been in trouble. they probably have a history. And that's the more lethal the drug is that somebody gets caught with, the more likely it is that they have a history. And so therefore, you have to take these things very seriously. And I think President Trump understood this, and I don't think Biden really cares.
All right. Thank you very much, Jonathan. Jonathan Gilliam coming up, folks.